So I think it's dazzled and entertained is the bar that I have here, so I'll look to live up to it. I have 20 minutes with y'all, and we are going to talk about, with the waves that Chris described, I'm going to give you 4 frameworks that CDW is working with our clients to use to remove friction in our enterprise. And it's going to, the title of the topic here is Architecting the Frictionless Enterprise. As we get into that, I wanted to start, though, with a personal story. Kind of the thesis of what we're talking about here is where we're at, what Chris talked about as this wave coming up for us to ride, is as an industry, we've never had access to more, but because of friction, which can be both good friction and bad friction, there's difficulty getting value from it. So my story is this. So I was flying out to Las Vegas, not this time, but a week ago, and CDW recently has rolled out a series of agents for us to help our employees do our work. So we have a view within the company. It's called a 360 view for AI, where CDW is our own lighthouse customer with how we work with AI in the enterprise. So we've rolled out 10,000 Copilot seats and recently rolled out 7 agents and the ability to build agents to all coworkers. So here I was on the plane. Said I used 3 different agents when I sat down. So first, I wrote an email to my team, and I used our writing coach. And that cut about, I can write that on my own, but it's a little easier. It cut about 50% of the time out of the task. My next task was with our analyst agent, where I took 3 different spreadsheets where I was fairly certain there's a correlation or causation in the data. I just queried the data in multiple ways. And that task normally I would have had to send out to an analyst. It far outstripped my personal Excel skills, but within a matter of minutes, I had an answer back that allowed me to then direct my teams to focus on a specific opportunity. And then third, I used our researcher agent as I was out here for a product launch to evaluate what the kind of external sources opinion were on that product launch and what it would mean for our customers over the next 2 to 3 years. And that work would have taken potentially going to external sources, going to my internal teams. And within that, on one plane ride, I was able to accomplish a massive amount of work that even 3 months ago, 6 months ago, would have been impossible. So when it comes to the second part, the getting value from it, what I did then is a tragic waste of human potential and time. So on the plane, you have the ability to watch movies, and I watched The Accountant 2. I don't know if anybody's seen this. I thought I'd watched Accountant 1, but clearly as I started watching, I never would have picked this, but it was The Accountant 2, and I think there's no greater waste of human time or potential than the back half of that flight. So you saw both unlimited productivity and access followed by just a squandering of human time. So if you're flying, it's almost worth, maybe watch it just to see what I'm talking about, but it's up to you. So what I'm going to do here, before I get into our 4 models, just to contextualize further what we're seeing, we've done research here on this page with Gartner and a company we work with, Altman Solon. And within this, we queried CIOs to get the top outcomes they're looking to achieve through implementing technology programs. And the top 3 use cases really are not entirely surprising, but on the top end, you have, especially with what we just talked about with AI, ability to drive growth, we have a clear mandate for driving our business and impelling our business forward around generating revenue, improving operating margins, and optimizing our environment and cost. Second, and this was a little surprising that the next 2 were here, but it really was all about enhancing and evolving how we work with our constituents and customers. So how we work with you, but how you work with your customers. The tools that we have available today fundamentally have changed that math equation. And third, no surprise, based on the governance conversation that we talked about, the need to do all of that with security embedded and wrapped around that. So think driving business value, changing the customer experience, and doing so with security and control. On the left-hand side, there are really three technology trends that are shaping this right now. So cloud adoption, one around what's happening with cloud. If you zoom out from a 10,000-foot view, cloud adoption's continuing apace. So we're at 35% of apps live on the cloud today. By 2028, that's estimated to be 47% of applications living on cloud or on cloud platform, whether it's SaaS or on a hyperscaler. However, in that, though, we have this idea of rebalancing. And it's not necessarily intuitive, but if you think back over our collective journey to the cloud over the last decade, it makes sense. Saying a decade ago, if you think about the teams, the tools, the maturity that we had, we might have moved applications if we had a cloud-first initiative and lifted and shifted them to a cloud platform. And it's possible that those applications either needed to be modernized or are running in a steady state and might be more fit for purpose in an environment that you can capitalize. Same, the applications maybe that were more difficult and seemed impossible 10 years ago, we waited, right? So there's applications living on premises that ought to have been modernized. And what that's led to, because of you've seen a tick-tock of innovation between premise-based and cloud infrastructure, we're as an industry inherently imbalanced. And with AI and where data resides becoming ever more important, that's changed the math equation again. Second, how we develop applications has changed, right? So think about low code, no code. Up to 99% of those we surveyed said that Gen AI tools would be embedded in their application stack by 2027. And that's led to an explosion of demand for compute. So it's a crazy amount of investment. If you take Oracle, Meta, Microsoft, GCP, and AWS, they're going to put $250 million in capital and build out of AI data centers this year. They did the same last year. They did $30 billion last year, the year before that. So the amount of investment is not only, you try and draw a correlation, it's the build out of the internet, but it's more, right? And it's fueling this innovation. So all of that goes back to how we'll then accomplish these objectives. And I go back to the original statement, we almost have an abundance and embarrassment of riches, but we also have challenges in achieving the ultimate value from that. So we have our goals here of accelerating performance while optimizing costs, those two fueling each other. And what we're going to talk about today are 4 models for removing friction. So just a word on friction, because I've said it now, if you're counting, 7 or 8 times. There's good friction and bad friction. So good friction for us is user access controls. It's governance. It's looking at executive approvals. It's change management, where our belief is that it shouldn't go away. It serves a valuable function. But whenever possible, like my experience on the plane, my access controls were embedded in how I interface with my machine. It's already done and is invisible to me. So we want to automate good friction wherever possible. Now, bad friction, we want to try and eliminate. This is tech debt, silos, provisioning delays, things that get in the way of us achieving this unlimited potential that's ahead of us. And just an example there, doctors today spend 44% of their time entering information into electronic medical records and only 11% of time on aggregate working with patients. So it's bad friction. So here's our model, and I'm going to click into each of these 4 areas, and what I'm going to give you are frameworks, right, that we will talk as you go through this Executive Summit and you work with CDW, frameworks we're using to provide an opinion and order to these very complex topics and tasks. To jump in, I'm going to start with AI. All right, a little bit of risk here. Audience participation. How many in your enterprise have a definition of AI that you use to talk about AI back to your organizations? Anybody? Come on, hands up. A few? Okay, this might be helpful. Here's what we've generally seen. If you were to query 15 people on a definition of AI, you get 25 answers. If honestly we should have done, now I'm thinking, like, this is a great use for Slido with all of us, right? We could have put, like, everybody, give me 5 seconds on what you think AI is, and I would guess we'd have 100% variability. So for this is a framework that we use to try and chunk out AI into ways that we can use, talk to our teams, but also our clients can then take and use to talk to their businesses and enterprises. So let me take you through this top-down and then bottoms-up, 2 ways to look at this. The first is, if you look in the middle layer, we've chunked out AI really into the different use cases or applications that we've seen. So you have generative AI, which produces context. You have predictive AI, which forecasts future outcomes. Perceptive AI, like computer vision, that senses and interprets. And then you have embedded AI, which really is where most of us are broad-based working with AI today. With the partners that you've worked with in our innovation showcase, everybody's embedding AI into their tool sets, and we see those embedded use cases everywhere. Now, overriding and almost superseding all of that is agentic AI, where the AI agents now have the ability to autonomously take action, and we're seeing an explosion of use case and adoption. And underlaying all of that, you have AI ops. Why? Because we believe, with all of us here and what we've worked on together, one of the first and seminal use cases for AI to get value is working within IT and applying AI to drive efficiency and automation. The second way to look at this is bottoms up. So for that, as you've worked with us, likely, if you worked with us in the past, we're known as a full stack, full life cycle, full outcomes provider. And this is saying maybe your business has a use case that fits into one of these buckets. Now, I tell you the referential architectures, the ability to serve these are different in, say, like a edge AI use case versus a large language model where you're looking at inferencing. But looking at the infrastructure, the platforms used to run those AI use cases, the data environment and data fabric, the security that governs that, and ultimately building that into the AI factory that allows you to land AI use cases and scale them. So within this, know that this is, again, a helpful way for us to contextualize where we're at. So you can kind of point to, we need help generating use case, or we've already got that, and we need to think about where we're doing test and where we're thinking about scaling. Now, I have 2 quick asides here. What's the right place for an AI workload to live? Anybody? It's kind of like there's 250 people in the room. Not great for someone to jump out. The answer is yes, in that based on the life cycle if we think about it from a life cycle perspective, an AI test might live on the cloud as you're thinking about maybe 10 or 15 different use cases that might have value to organization. Once they take hold, then you have a decision to make, saying what is the underlying demand for those use cases, for compute and infrastructure, and then what's the appropriate place for that to live? If it's going to run steady state and an inferencing workload, that might be on premises. Or if you have demand that bursts, it might be on premises that burst into a neocloud provider. Or it might live on cloud. The idea is that it's use case dependent, and the takeaway here is that we build a fabric for AI that crosses hyperscalers, neocloud providers, and premise-based infrastructure with the right data fabric in between to allow you to have flexibility in how you scale AI workloads across the life cycle. Last one, and this was quick. I was talking with our CFO. I said, listen, the economics of this are crazy in that what made cloud scaling attractive, so think commoditized hardware, all the AI workloads running NVIDIA under the covers, oversubscription, you have to sign up for specific infrastructure over a period of time, and really recency of revision. So think, if there's $250 billion in infrastructure being put in the ground today, But due to the pace of NVIDIA's innovation that is at just a lightning pace right now, you buy tomorrow, and you might have a different revision, right? So we're seeing a different version. So on this, ran this recently, a fully loaded, fully managed environment, including the co-location costs for a steady state application running inferencing workloads, came in more than half the cost of running steady state on cloud provider. So it's just, we need to look at it. Okay, next framework. This one is, to give you what we're after here, this is about providing your paths. So customer cloud, and we've had a few iterations of this, but thinking about truly through through automation and self-service, the ability to build a productized internal platform that allows you to deliver the right workload to the right individual at the right time. So this is your devs getting self-service access to infrastructure that they want. It's the operations teams reducing repetitive work through automation, and the business generally benefiting from a faster time to market and a lower operational overhead. And this is providing, again, that automation framework, self-service framework, to allow you to consume infrastructure on cloud, on-premise, on neo-cloud, wherever that is, based on what's right for that specific use case. Now, I have this part here where I'm going to get a little controversial. Hopefully, you stay with me here. But the controversial statement is the golden age of cloud in this opportunity is right now. However, we are seeing those that try run into issues and fail in execution. Now, the why here. The why is, we're treating going back to the platform engineering, we're treating the automation project as a project or a tool that we're deploying. We're deploying individual projects over, to achieve an end objective, but the end experience, right, isn't necessarily connected. So for us, the idea here is we think about this as productized thinking to deliver an outcome. Generally, we see there's no product roadmap, there's no product owner, there's no user research, which then results in lower adoption. I'll give you an example in our industry. Anybody a Wiz customer here? So Wiz recently went from 0 to $30 billion plus acquisition by Google, and delivering cloud security broadly. But what was Wiz's kind of superpower? Is a user experience. It's a delightful user experience to work on their platform. And as they added capabilities, they stayed true to that. So what I'm talking about in platform engineering is yes, it's a series of projects, but it's thinking about the end user experience and creating a delightful user experience for your end user. All right, and that's where we help, by the way. Okay, next framework around future of work. So we say here it's kind of become democratized. We all have phones. We all access wireless infrastructure. Do super quick. We'll see how this goes. How many, if you look at your phone, how many ways do you have to make give me an app that you use to make a phone call on your phone today? Teams, WhatsApp, Zoom, Signal, the phone. What's that? Okay, Slack, that was the other one. Okay, Google Talk. We could keep going, right? So think about this now from your end user experience. And this as both how you attract talent in your organization, as we talked yesterday, that has a new expectation of how we work, that as a younger set of employees demands a different experience, and to our customers who potentially have a wildly fragmented view. So while it's, like, again, think just how many ways, we had 10 different ways to make a call on your phone. We need to think about this as from an architectural and framework perspective where we bring together the security applications and infrastructure to build a connected ecosystem. And there is some magic to this, right? But it's one that with the right plan, we give employees the right tools at the right time in the right context without unnecessary friction. Now, controversial again. I just got done saying AI is embedded everywhere and we're using tools on platform, right? Now I'm going to talk the other side of this. The danger here is that we over-automate. And going back to the Wiz example, we need to think about the end user experience as the outcome for the implementation of our collaboration and customer care programs. So again, a personal experience. One of the airlines I fly on and have status, I used to have a phone number that I call if I needed it, and when you need it, you need it. A human would be able to jump on the phone and help solve the problem. That was replaced with an automated IVR solution. And even if that, I don't think it's more effective, my personal view, but even if it was more effective, the loss of human touch when I was in distress or duress made me feel disconnected from that company. So what was an advantage to a loyalty program became over-automated and became a disadvantage for my experience with that company. So the idea there is think user experience, and again, as we work together to achieve these, have a user-centric view. And last, to bring us home here, a framework around cyber resilience. The goal here, if it gives you the headline, this is moving from walled towers, right, to being able to operate in a state of continuous disruption. I'll get to the framework. So for us, this approach blends strategy, design, response, and recovery across a maturity model to enable you to effectively minimize the impact of breach. It's about risk mitigation, risk management, and it's continuously building in, again, a series of tools into a connected outcome. Now, I'll give you if you want to learn more about this is the Reading Rainbow. Our Innovation Center has our Spark assessment as a demo that allows you to identify kind of where you'd fit on this maturity and get started. So I'd encourage you to look that up. So to bring us home, one more bit. This is my controversial statement. It's okay. Gen AI, let's think about right now, we talked about control and the power of these tools. We also need to govern the use of those tools. What I say here is, I want you to think for a minute. Think about your sales organization, marketing organization. Think of Chad. What's Chad doing right now? Chad's putting something into a publicly available model that might involve your IP. So we need to manage and govern access. Going back to what CDW created, it's based on our data. It uses my voice, but it's also inherently secure. The headline here, protect yourselves from Chad. So to bring us home, as I talked about each of these things, a lot of times we think about individual IT projects. The idea here is when we think about the end outcome, which generally is the user experience, both the internal devs or IT operators, the people that interface with us internally or our customers, embedding security controls so they're frictionless to the end user, yet keep us safe as we're accessing new technology. The idea is that it's a connected program of projects that we need to link together. And that's where, as you work with us over the next few days, we're excited to dive more into this with you as we work to build the frictionless enterprise. That's what I had for you today, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you, and have an amazing Executive Summit. Thanks all.